It's July 14, 1518, and the scorching summer sun pounds mercilessly on Strasbourg's cobbled streets. Suddenly, without music or warning, a woman named Frau Trophäa steps into the street and begins to dance. Her movements start slow, almost graceful, but soon spiral into something uncontrollable and frenzied. Her feet thump violently against the stones until blisters burst and blood seeps through her worn leather shoes. Hours pass, then days. Witnesses gasp as she collapses, convulsing on the ground, only to stagger back up and continue her relentless dance. Her eyes stare blankly ahead. It's as if she's trapped inside her own body. Within a week, dozens more join her, dancing helplessly, unable to stop. But why did Frau Trophäa begin dancing, and more disturbingly, why did others follow? The city's officials scrambled for explanations. Physicians quickly pointed to a popular theory: hot blood caused by overheated brains. This strange medical diagnosis seemed plausible at the time, but other townsfolk whispered fearfully about darker possibilities. Was this divine retribution? Had the townspeople angered St. Vitus, the patron saint known to punish sinners by forcing them to dance? As more and more people fell into this mysterious rhythm, priests and scholars debated whether it was a curse, an epidemic, or something even worse. Meanwhile, the dancers' numbers swelled. Soon over 400 citizens danced uncontrollably in the city's streets, squares, and marketplaces. Desperate for a solution, city leaders devised a shocking plan. Rather than stopping the dancers, they chose to encourage them. Officials constructed stages and dance halls, hired musicians, and even brought in professional dancers, hoping victims would exhaust themselves into healing. But this only amplified the madness. The music seemed to fuel their movements, drawing even more people into the relentless rhythm. Each note drove them deeper into frenzy, each beat brought more agony, yet none could break free from the dance. Reports describe dancers shrieking, weeping, pleading for mercy, yet their legs refused to stop. As weeks went on, the scene turned grim. Dancers collapsed from exhaustion, dehydration, and heart attacks. Yet even as they lay crumpled on the ground, their limbs twitched as though possessed. Some accounts suggested as many as 15 deaths per day at the peak of the plague. Bodies were carried away from dance floors and streets, their faces pale, limbs twisted in unnatural angles. Still, officials clung stubbornly to their plan, convinced it would eventually work. Instead, it drove the city deeper into terror. Modern historians still grapple with the bizarre nature of the dancing plague. Many point to mass psychogenic illness, better known as mass hysteria, a powerful phenomenon in which psychological stress manifests physically among groups of people. Strasbourg had suffered years of hardship. Crops had failed repeatedly. Diseases like syphilis swept through towns, and harsh winters left families starving. Anxiety simmered beneath the surface, ready to erupt. Perhaps the collective trauma finally broke through as uncontrolled dancing. It's a chilling reminder of how powerfully our minds and bodies are connected, and how stress can unleash terrifying physical consequences. Another prominent theory involves ergot poisoning, caused by a fungus infecting rye, a staple food in medieval Europe. Ergot contains compounds similar to LSD, causing terrifying hallucinations, seizures, and convulsions. Could the dancers have unknowingly consumed contaminated bread, plunging them into a collective hallucinogenic nightmare? This explanation is compelling, yet skeptics point out inconsistencies. Ergot poisoning usually incapacitates victims, not fueling relentless movement for weeks. Could there be another piece to this strange puzzle? Historical records reveal the dancing plague wasn't an isolated incident. Similar outbreaks dotted Europe's past, each with eerily similar characteristics. In 1374, a dancing epidemic swept through Germany and France. Dancers convulsed uncontrollably, claiming visions of demons, angels, and divine punishment. Other occurrences were documented in Italy and Holland, each accompanied by local explanations involving curses or supernatural forces. These repeated episodes hint at something deeper within the medieval mindset, a psychological susceptibility to collective hysteria triggered by religious beliefs, fear, and extreme stress. In Strasbourg, religious beliefs indeed played a crucial role. Citizens widely believed St. Vitus could curse the sinful with compulsive dancing. This belief could have acted as a powerful suggestion, infecting vulnerable minds already strained by hardship and fear. People saw their neighbors dance and succumb to the overwhelming dread of punishment, losing control over their own bodies. This phenomenon, known as psychic contagion, shows how quickly panic spreads when fear and belief intertwine. Yet why Strasbourg in particular? Historians point to the city's unique mix of extreme stressors. Economic hardship combined with rampant disease created an environment ripe for collective hysteria. Strasbourg's location also made it vulnerable. Positioned along major trade routes, it had constant exposure to news and goods, but also diseases and cultural fears. The city's rapid response, encouraging dancing rather than banning it, was perhaps its greatest misstep, reinforcing rather than calming collective panic. Interestingly, the dancing plague ended almost as suddenly as it began. After weeks of failed attempts, officials reversed their strategy. They banned dancing outright, dismantled stages, silenced music, and took drastic spiritual measures. Victims were escorted on a pilgrimage to a mountaintop shrine dedicated to St. Vitus. Priests performed rituals, sprinkled holy water, and chanted prayers for absolution. Gradually, dancers stopped twitching, stopped moving, and finally, mercifully, rested. Yet no definitive cure was found, leaving behind scars and countless unanswered questions. Though the exact death toll remains unclear, contemporary accounts suggest the human cost was tragically high. Families mourned loved ones lost to this inexplicable mania, and Strasbourg was left forever marked by the haunting memories of dancing shadows. Even centuries later, the dancing plague captures our imagination precisely because it defies easy explanation. It forces us to confront unsettling truths about the power of belief, stress, and fear. What if something similar occurred today? Could modern communities fall victim to collective hysteria driven by stress, misinformation, and shared panic? History says yes. In 1962, the Tanganyika laughter epidemic similarly engulfed hundreds of school children, driven by uncontrollable laughing and crying fits. The common thread, collective anxiety and psychological contagion, suggests humanity remains vulnerable to outbreaks of mass hysteria, especially in times of crisis. Ultimately, the dancing plague of 1518 serves as both a chilling historical mystery and a cautionary tale. It reminds us how fragile the line between psychological distress and physical symptoms can be, how powerful beliefs shape behaviors, and how quickly panic can spread through communities. And while medical science has advanced, humans remain susceptible to the invisible pressures that once drove an entire city to dance uncontrollably. Today, Strasbourg has moved far beyond its dark past, becoming a vibrant modern city. But beneath its bustling streets, the echoes of that frantic dancing linger. Visitors walking its ancient cobblestones might find themselves briefly imagining the desperate rhythm, the frightened faces, and the inexplicable madness that once gripped its citizens. It's a haunting reminder that beneath civilization's thin veneer lies a delicate balance, one easily tipped by fear, belief, and communal panic. Perhaps the greatest lesson from Strasbourg's dancing plague is about our collective humanity. It reveals our vulnerabilities, shared anxieties, and the enduring need to understand ourselves better. And in understanding what happened, we guard against ever repeating it again.